So this is part 2 of my video to Callista. Assuming Callista's still here, I'll be talking to her, I guess. If not, hey everybody else that's watching this or whatever. So I guess I left off kind of just introing where I'm going to go with this. But I wanted to address specifically Callista's offer to enlighten me with her video on her material that she believes in or whatever. And I want to say up front, without ever seeing it, that it's probably not going to enlighten me at all. I'm not going to be closed-minded like I said I wasn't. I might be closed-minded for some things, but I know that I'll watch the video and probably learn something from the video. I'll probably say, oh yeah, whatever. But it's not important. See, when there are people that... I believe that racism in this country specifically, and really probably worldwide, racism is an industry. And there are people that make their living on the hopes that racism will never go away. Sounds like kind of a pessimistic way of looking at things, but it's true. This country is often, from within anyway, pointed at as being, you know, an intolerant country and whatever. I'm resetting this timer. I forgot to start my timer. I look at it for the 10-minute mark. But in a short period of time, in the grand scheme of things, if you look at world history, this country has gone from, you know, a wilderness to what it is today. It wasn't that long ago, people that were, in the South at least, that were black were freaking slaves. And now we have a president that's black. Now, that doesn't mean racism doesn't exist. What it does mean is that enough people, and let's be honest, white people, being as populous as they are in this country, had to be the ones that put old Barack Obama over the freaking top. So you have to at least acknowledge that when that wouldn't have happened in 1865, I hate to tell you. But anyway, I'm kind of going off topic. What I want to do is I want to talk about how this video, or these videos that are presented to me, you know, Callista's being one of them, they're not necessarily going to... It's not like you can look at this and go, oh yeah, I'm going to change my mind. I don't expect to change anybody's mind. But I want to kind of illustrate something. People are generally, and I fall into this category just like everyone else, people generally will be more likely to believe things if they really want to believe those things. It's not I didn't make that up on my own, but it's true. An example. Let's say you have kids that go to school, and your teacher calls you in parent-teacher conference, and they say, oh, your son or your daughter is the most brilliant child I've ever taught. You're going to sit there and think, wow, yeah, that's probably true, you know. I want to believe that. When you hear that out of the teacher's mouth, you're going to, I mean, if you're any kind of parent at all, you're going to want to believe that that's true. Wow, that's awesome. I don't have to do the flip side, do I? The teacher says, yeah, your kid's not so bright. You'll talk to that kid, and that kid might be able to talk you in, oh, that teacher has it out for me. You might not be so quick to believe the teacher when your little frickin' flower didn't do quite what you expected him or her to do. So I believe that that's the case. You will believe the things, or it's easier to believe the things that you want to be true. When it comes to this whole world that Callista lives in, that seems to be I mean, every post she made, she talked about white privilege. I think there's only 3 she posted to me. But she talks about, she wants to hammer into my head that, by God, I better be feeling lucky that I'm white or something. And she didn't say it that way. I'm putting it that way. I should feel guilty. So I've had people on the other side of the spectrum tell me that I should kill myself because I married outside my race, and me and my wife should just kill ourselves now. I've betrayed my race. If you don't believe me, go back to my response to Ray William Johnson. I forget the name of the video. I'll probably put an annotation in so you can go there. But if you want to see it, look at the comments on there. People, freaking white supremacists, man, I'll tell you what. Nothing gets their ire up like marrying outside your race or not being proud of your race or stuff like that. They freaking go off on that crap. So I've been offered to, I've been directed to websites and I've looked at their material and whatnot. And I see some facts. Just because they're white supremacists and just because they're neo-Nazis or whatever, doesn't mean they don't have some facts on their side. Undeniable facts. I mean, but that doesn't mean anything. Just because you could present somebody with factual information, you have to look at the entire package, the whole material, and then look at the conclusions that are drawn based on that material. The thing with this whole, white privilege thing is the conclusions are made before the evidence. You put evidence together to bring yourself towards the conclusion that you want to have happen, the thing that you want to be true. The same with the neo-Nazis. If there's evidence that the smartest person in the world was a black man, there would be some way that those white supremacists could explain that away. It would probably be because of some white person that taught them, or there would be some way to explain that. Just as when presented with, as an example, the people that would be the white guilt people, as I'll call them, would say that, if I turn on a TV, it's not hard for me to see people that look like me, and so look at the privilege that I have, or the people that I work with, or I walk around town with, or nobody's going to look at me if I go into a store, nobody's going to follow me around, all that stuff that I've heard. You could say the same thing, about an Asian person. They don't have those things. They don't turn the TV on and see themselves. They don't have a Congress that is representing them. There's not very many Asians in Congress, last I checked. All these arguments that people use when they're arguing toward why minorities or whatever have it rough and white people have it so easy, whatever, the opportunity exists in this country for success based on work. Now, is everybody equal? No. Callista, I would ask Sarah's mother if she thought she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth just because she's white. I'm talking about my sister. I'm not going to give you a sob story about me. I didn't exactly grow up in frickin' Bel Air. And yeah, you can't tell the difference from looking at me from somebody that did. I'll give you that. But again, I'll point to, it's not always, look at people that immigrate here from India that are brown-skinned, tend to be pretty successful. From Japan, tend to be pretty successful, and they have many of the same barriers that even people from Africa that weren't born here, that immigrate here, tend to be pretty successful. So arm yourself with those facts and try to explain away. I know you have probably some canned responses for a lot of these things, but I look at that thing, I look at the overall evidence, and I say to myself, we're living in a place where if you really want to work hard, there's a good chance you're going to succeed, but there's no guarantee. And there certainly isn't a guarantee of success just because you happen to be white.